They said it was an open and shut case, the kind of assignment that young lawyers dreaded, and for Daniel Carter, a rookie public defender in New York barely 2 years into his career, this case was supposed to be just another statistic, another defeat to add to his already heavy load of impossible files, but something inside him shifted the moment he saw the face in the folder. A weathered, homeless man named Elijah Brooks, accused of robbery and assault, his mugshot radiating both exhaustion and dignity, eyes that looked more like they had endured storms than caused them, and Daniel felt an unexplainable pull, as though the case was calling him not just professionally but personally. Colleagues warned him to treat it as routine, to push Elijah into a plea deal, but when Daniel sat across from the man in the dim jail visiting room and asked if he had done it, Elijah's soft voice and unwavering gaze shook him. "No, son, I didn't hurt her, I was trying to help," but nobody stayed long enough to see the truth, and those words lit a fire in Daniel, because they were not the words of a liar grasping at straws, they were the words of someone broken but still clinging to a thread of honor. Yet the case against Elijah seemed airtight. A young woman allegedly attacked in the dark, Elijah accused of trying to steal her purse, police claiming he turned violent when confronted, two supposed witnesses swearing they saw him flee, and a conveniently broken surveillance camera offering no proof of his innocence. Still, Daniel's gut would not let him rest, so he dug deeper, only to find inconsistencies buried in the police log, an overlooked call from a nearby payphone minutes before the incident, a terrified voice begging for help before the line cut. Could this be the missing piece? Daniel chased it down, and in a forgotten corner of Brooklyn he found Marissa, a woman whose haunted eyes told him she carried the truth inside her chest like a wound. Slowly, gently, he earned her trust, and she revealed what really happened. She had been attacked by two men, dragged toward an alley, when Elijah, a stranger, intervened, fighting them off long enough for her to escape, but in her panic she ran, never turning back, and the next day when she saw Elijah's face on the news as the alleged attacker, fear and shame silenced her. Daniel begged her to testify, but she trembled, afraid of reliving it, afraid the world would not believe her, and so Daniel chose patience, kindness, listening not as a lawyer but as a human being, until finally, she found her courage and stood in the courtroom, her testimony shattering the prosecution's narrative. Gasps filled the room as the truth began to unravel. The witnesses, exposed as liars with criminal ties to the real attackers, the missing pieces falling into place, and suddenly the jury saw Elijah not as a criminal but as a protector who had been betrayed by the very system meant to protect him. Yet the most powerful moment was not the verdict of not guilty, though that brought tears to Elijah's eyes and thunderous relief to Daniel's chest, but what happened after, when Elijah asked Daniel to sit with him under a street lamp before parting ways, and there, in the quiet of the night, Elijah revealed something he had carried for decades. That long ago, he had been a medic in the military, and during a brutal firefight overseas, he had dragged a wounded soldier to safety, patched him up, and saved his life, never knowing his name, only carrying with him a crumpled photograph of the young man he rescued. With trembling hands he pulled out the faded picture, and Daniel's world spun, his breath catching in his throat, because the soldier in the photo was his own father, younger but unmistakable, the man who had raised him, the man who had passed away years earlier after telling Daniel stories of a nameless medic who saved him in war. And now here he was, sitting in front of him, the very man Daniel had just defended. Time froze as realization struck them both. Elijah had once saved Daniel's father, and now, decades later, Daniel had saved Elijah. Tears blurred Daniel's vision as he whispered, "You saved my dad," and Elijah, overwhelmed, replied, "And you saved me," and in that moment, destiny itself seemed to fold into a perfect circle, proof that no act of kindness is ever wasted, that what we give has a way of returning, even across generations. In the months that followed, Elijah did not fade back into the shadows. With Daniel's support he entered rehabilitation, rebuilt his life, and soon began speaking in schools and community centers, sharing his journey not as a tale of tragedy but as a living testimony that no life is beyond redemption, no story too broken to be rewritten. Daniel, too, was transformed, no longer seeing his job as just defending cases but as restoring dignity to the forgotten, carrying Elijah's story, and his father's legacy, in his heart as a compass. News outlets called it the case with the most insane twist anyone had ever heard, but for Daniel and Elijah it was more than a twist, it was destiny reminding them that compassion is humanity's greatest power. And so the case that everyone dismissed as hopeless became a beacon of hope, proving that even in the darkest corners of injustice, light can break through in ways we cannot imagine, that the smallest act of goodness might one day save lives we never thought connected, and that the circle of kindness, once started, never truly ends.